Hey, mamas, it's Kristen Noel, founder of the Intuitive Divorce, and I'm joined here with my fabulous team member, Master Coach Joe Young. And we are literally hot off of our class that really overran today because there was so much that we were unpacking. And we just want to share some of those after class musings with you. Wow, I don't even know where to start. We have mothers in our group that are in so many different places. We have some that are stuck in the process, really frustrated. We have some moms that haven't yet told their spouse. We have some that were graduating. There was just a lot going on. We have some that are going to court tomorrow. So there was so much going on, a lot of feelings, a lot of frustration, a lot of vulnerability, a lot of anger, manipulation, a lot going on. This is why this container is so sacred because not only are they showing up and really being heard about what is actually unfolding in their divorce, we don't let them off with that. We get into what's underneath it. We can't control all the external forces and events and experiences and things that are getting tossed our way, but we can get into what's underneath it. What's it bringing up? How can I nurture it? How can I support myself?
There was a lot.
It was a lot, but it was
There was
so
a lot. It
powerful. And
was
it's,
it was so powerful. It was so powerful. And you started the class today talking about timing and how sometimes we can want timing to be very different than it is, or we want to be in a different place than where we are, or to feel something different than what we're feeling. And the importance of really honoring where we are and what's happening and staying present and in the moment and trusting. When I think about in the short time we've had since class got out, I was just thinking, what was the overall feeling today? And it was very interesting because it was about what was underneath what was coming up, even if it was being frustrated about the timing or not being sure about next step. It was a beautiful way for us to really check in with them and say, what feeling is that bringing up for you?
hmm
And
hmm
what can you do with that? And how
hmm
can you use that to stay present and calm and continue to move the needle in directions that are going to serve you? So, yeah,
yeah, and like not getting caught in the weeds of the circumstances, right?
yeah.
So it's very easy to come in and say, this happened and that happened, and he did this and he did that. And it's like, okay, okay. And those are realities.
Hmm.
But what is yours to control? What is yours to change? What is yours to fix? What is yours to feel? Because really, that's the crux of it. We had one mama who was really just in a vulnerable share, and she was in tears because they're at this newly separated, newly living in two houses, and there's a potentiality that her husband's going to be moving far away, not very far away, but and that's really going to change the co-parenting dynamic. And she was getting really wrapped up in this notion of I'm just feeling all the grief and the sorrow of like how he could not spend his time with his child and what that's going to mean to her and writing this story that hasn't been written yet. And so this is something that and while that could happen, the reality is we don't control it. And we can distract ourselves with somebody else's why. Why is he doing it? How could he do it? What's behind it? All of that. Or we can recognize that maybe there's something a little deeper here. Maybe this is about my pain. And it's not so much about this circumstance that I'm placing the emphasis on. That was a pretty
Yeah.
powerful moment.
Yeah, it really was. And we also really encouraged her to not project what this was going to mean to her
Mhm,
child.
mhm,
And man, this is a big one. And I'm watching this happen quite often where, I don't know, it seems to be a very prevalent topic right now around, I feel so guilty because my children are going to go through X, Y, and Z,
mhm,
and I'm afraid to make these moves and what that's going to mean for them. And we forget that our children are already suffering as a result of an unhealthy relationship. And that's not for us to be able to fix for them, but to trust that the things that they're learning by watching these moms break away, create a new life for themselves, stand on their own 2 feet.
Mhm.
Like, we so badly want to prevent our children from hurting, whether we're in divorce or not. I mean, let's be honest, nobody wants their children to hurt. And yet, our greatest lessons come from difficult situations sometimes.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, we get the privilege of hearing the moms on the other side of that as well, whose
I was gonna
children
say
come
that.
back and say, "What took you so long?"
Exactly.
Or, yeah,
Exactly.
or,
Exactly.
"I'm so glad to see that, mom, that you're able to, have the life that you deserve." I mean,
Mhm.
granted that as they get older, they're much more able to communicate these things, but never underestimate what getting out of a very bad, unhealthy relationship means to your children.
Mhm.
Because even though it's difficult and it's hard and you go through some hard things,
Mhm.
you can never begin to imagine what you open up for your children on the other side. So
And we don't want to
there's a lot
assign
of trust.
our meaning to it.
That's right.
We really have to be mindful of not assigning our meaning to it. And, we can want to divorce someone and still support them in being a good co-parent. Not because we want to be with them, not because we think they're a great person, but because we care about our kids. There's other ways to show up for your kids. And as you so succinctly said, the best way to show up for your kids is to take care of you.
Mm,
Because the condition that you're in, and the condition that you're mothering, and the condition that you're showing up, and the energy in your house, that's what matters. That's what matters for them. Their day-to-day interaction and energy in the house, that's what matters most. So filling your cup, not worrying about trying to fix something that's not yours to fix, and assign a meaning to it that could be a potentiality, but it also couldn't. It's like, what are
yeah.
we going to choose? There's enough to worry about. There's enough going on. We don't need to add more to our plate, right?
Yeah. So it really is uncovering what is ours, what is each of our responsibility to hold and carry, and then what can we support with our children and the surrounding people. Wasn't it amazing today to hear how many of the moms are still, these ideas around, I don't want my ex to suffer. I don't want my ex to be uncomfortable. I'm so used to taking the hit for everyone, eating the breadcrumbs that are left over, taking the bad seat. Someone even said, if there's one comfortable seat left, she made the comment, I will always give it to someone else. And it's like, isn't that interesting?
Hmm.
Isn't that interesting? And how uncomfortable it makes you feel when you start to put the focus and attention on yourself and what I want and what I deserve.
Hmm.
And you know what? When I say no to that, and or when I'm saying yes to that other person taking that seat, I'm saying no to myself. And
Hmm.
how often we do that in small ways.
There's so much it gets unpacked in a class. I mean, of course, we dove into people pleasing because every single mother in this intuitive divorce group is a people pleaser. And
Mhm.
so it's this notion, like we just kept saying, okay, today we'd like you all to remove your people pleasing cloaks. We'd like you to check them at the door, because the bottom line is you're a people. You get to please yourself. Saying yes when you mean no doesn't help anyone. These women are always going to be nurturers, lovers, supporters, compassionate people, but they have to remember to give a little dose of that to themselves.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful reminder today about the fact that you are a caring person. You're always going to be a caring person. And you can start to also consider yourself and to care for
Mhm.
yourself and to put what you want as part of the consideration, right? It's not an either or. We don't have to choose us or them.
Mhm.
There's space for both. And that's the piece that most of us aren't taught or
Yeah. Oh,
modeled.
absolutely. You're always so good at reminding us of the both and, right? it's beautiful to see what unfolds in this process for
Mm.
mamas that lean in and allow themselves to actually feel it's not just about meetings with your lawyer and the divorce papers and the settlement and the child co-parenting schedules. It's really about this opportunity to heal what's coming up. What are the feelings that, I'm navigating right now? One mama, we just had to really like witness her and give her permission to literally stand up to her divorce team and say, hey, this isn't working. I'm getting all this work tossed on me, and these deadlines are just getting pushed out and pushed out and pushed out. And this is going on ad nauseum. Like to lean in and to use her voice. She really just needed to be validated. It's amazing how much we'll take, right? Another mama has like, she's running a business, she's running a house, now she's running a divorce. And her husband's now mother-in-law is having drama and she's going to take care of that too. And we're like, what would it be like to just step away from that and just say, I'm really sorry, I can't handle that right now. I can't take that
Yeah.
on right now.
Yeah.
You know,
When we
it's
change the rules of engagement, right? We
yeah,
change the rules of
yeah.
engagement with people and we say, you know what? I can't shrink myself any longer. I can't continue to keep myself small and to not have a voice and to not matter and to not show up fully. And
Hmm.
so encouraging them wherever they are, step by step, to really step into this new version of themselves, this new version of, I deserve also all the things that I want to give to everybody else.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah. Oh, it
it
was
was
just
very
so much.
rich today.
It was really rich. I mean, and even there was as busy moms, we fantasize about, wow, what would it be like to have a day to ourselves, right? Just like, and then here we had a mom who actually had a couple days to herself because her kid was with a grandparent and she was coming undone and her back went out because all of a sudden all the busyness stopped and she was left with feeling the feelings, feeling the grief, feeling, but this was so brilliant. It was an absolutely brilliant moment because she was able to realize, like, oh, you know what? It's not just about him moving out. And it's not just about this. It's really about all the stuff I want to heal along with this because I want to create sustainable change and I want to move through the world differently. And I want to learn tools to navigate adversity. And that's like just the amazing thing that's happening. And as these women are telling their stories, we're interrupting them because we're like, do you see that win? Did you see that win? Did you see what you just did there? Do you see what you just uncovered? Like all these incredible things are happening in real time in front of our faces, right? Every week. It's really,
Yeah.
really powerful. And as I say over and over again, it's like a slice of grace. And
And we
I,
always point out for them how awesome that you're seeing it.
mhm,
Like, think about it. You were in this marriage for years and years and years, and there was
mhm,
something you knew was off, but
mhm,
you didn't see it yet. And when you
mhm,
see it, man, then the world of opportunities opens up about what you
mhm,
can do with it. And so, yeah, there's feelings underneath what you're beginning to see, of course. Oh my goodness. And then how many times do we hear, how did I not see that for so long? It's like, because you see it when you're ready. So
mhm,
we're always pointing out the wins of when they're recognizing something new or something different or seeing something that they haven't seen before, because that's where the opportunity lies. It's incredible. That's where the
mhm.
opportunity lies for growth and for healing. And so it's just the best, all of it,
Yeah,
the whole
it's
process.
incredible. It's
Mhm.
incredible and it's powerful. And it's really a reminder for everyone in that room about what's possible and how we can show up for ourselves. Listen, it doesn't mean we're not going to stumble, but it's like it's the quick pivot and the
Mm.
turnaround because you remember, oh yeah, I just went through probably the most difficult moment of my life, but I got through it with such grace and willing, well, maybe not always grace, because maybe it's not always graceful, but I got through it. It's like a mama who was, just a week ago was exhausted and just working her little tail off and then had a flood in her house. and she's in the middle of a contentious divorce, and she was just at her wit's end. And there's that moment where you're just like, it's enough. I can't take one more thing. And then
In
she
fact,
was
I
in
think she
class.
actually came on and said that. I
Yeah,
can't take one more thing.
she,
We were
she
like, "Okay."
we're gonna witness you. Well, we know you
Mhm,
can because you
mhm,
are, and you did. And then
mhm.
she came to class today, and she basically, well, and previously she posted some pictures about how she took care of the flood by. She's a doctor, but she took care of the flood, and she renovated the room and decorated it to her liking. We can do hard things.
Yeah,
And when you do those hard things, and you can acknowledge, like, this is hard and I can't take one more thing. And then it's like, okay, what are my choices here? And then you move forward. It's like the one thing we really always point out is we don't let them overstep their celebrations and overstep their wins because they are all over. They're sprinkled everywhere. And every week we see growth and expansion and healing and women coming back to themselves. And that is what it means to be empowered in disempowerment. And because divorce makes you feel one way, but really, like Joe said, it is an opportunity and it is a beginning and it's writing a new chapter and it's writing a new you.
mhm. It's beautiful to watch each of them take those steps in their own way and in their own timing, and to learn to trust themselves and to listen to themselves. Hence the intuition part, right? To
Mhm.
understand what that is and how that really can be and is the best guide we'll ever have. So
Mhm.
it's such an honor to be on the journey with all of them, even in the midst of I can't take one more thing, right? Or I'm falling apart, or I'm in
Hey,
pain, or
listen,
whatever the case may be.
that's raw and real. That's
That's
divorce.
right.
That is divorce. And
Yeah.
yes, it is difficult. It can be gut wrenching and it can be anxiety producing and all of those things, but it can also be so many other beautiful things. It can be the chapter you want to write. And you just need to lean in and allow yourself to be witnessed, allow yourself to see what you see and hear what you hear and know what you know and be what you want to become for
Yeah.
you and your kids. Because guess what? They're right there on the sidelines and they're cheering you on.
Taking it all in, taking
They're
it all
taking it
in,
all in and they're cheering you on.
and cheering you on.
Yeah.
Yes.
And on that note, we are just very honored to be here with you today. We love sharing these musings right after class. And we also welcome you to join us at any point over at intuitivedivorce.com, where you can check out our work and our podcast and our blog and our newsletter. Please sign up. Follow us on social media, Intuitive Divorce, because we are constantly putting out so much great information, tips, tools, strategies. We just really want to support you in this journey and let you know that you can divorce differently and you can harness the power of your intuition while you do.
That's right. And be in a loving community that's going to support you every step of the way.
Mhm.
So it's all available.